Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Carrie. I was not planning on recording again today, but I don't know. I just felt like chit-chatting with you. We haven't had a chit-chatty video in, I don't know, at least a week or so, so I figured I'd check in, say hey, just talk a little bit. I've been making some really big steps in the past week or so. Yeah, honestly, the past week or so, in terms of trying to overcome some of my fear and anxiety regarding communicating with people. A couple people have been reaching out to me that haven't in a while. Dear friends that I haven't heard from, in some cases for many months, and some not for such a long stretch of time, but we've kind of had a disconnect between us. Not like an actual fight or anything, but that we haven't felt as close maybe as we once did. And some people have been reaching out to me, and I've been reaching out to them as well, and to other people. And it's scary. It's super, super scary. Anytime you put yourself out on the limb, be it for a friend, an acquaintance, a life partner, a family member, it's a big risk. And it's something that I find personally really terrifying most of the time. My telephone anxiety plays into that to a degree, and I've been working on that a little bit too. Hallie, when I'm ready, I promise you I will let you know. My friend Hallie's been wanting me to talk to her on the phone since we've known each other pretty much, and honestly, I'm not there yet, sweetie, but when I am, you'll be the first to know. There are a couple people that I've spoken to this week and placed calls to that I've known for an extended period of time, and even those instances are super scary for me, but I feel like they're important. I'm not going to get into any personal details of any of the stuff that's going on with any of the people I am referring to. If they're watching, they'll probably know who they are. But I just feel like, I don't know. My therapist and I often discuss, and I had therapy this morning, so maybe that's part of what's triggering this, have often discussed that a lot of times part of my disease of depression and anxiety is the warped and really kind of sick, when you think about it, need to feel like I'm always the sickest person in the room. And I don't mean physically sick, obviously. I mean mentally sick or emotionally sick. And it's kind of something that I've sort of, I don't know, I sort of have to give her that. Like, when I get together with a group of friends that I have, I tend to always, like, kind of think about, you know, the different struggles that we may have. And I don't mean one specific group. I mean with different groups of friends in different situations, on the rare events that I actually do socialize with people. But even in terms of, like, when I do Instagram lives or something, like, I tend to look either, you know, literally or figuratively around the room and think to myself, am I the sickest, most messed up person here? And I am sometimes, and I'm not sometimes. And when I'm not, I kind of feel crappy about that. Like, wait a minute, if I can't at least claim that I'm the sickest person in the room, then what the hell do I have going for me? And I know how really weird and messed up that sounds, but I think maybe a few of you might get where I'm coming from with that. And I guess what I'm slowly learning through therapy and through just personal growth and working really hard on myself is that I'm not always the sickest person in the room, and that's actually a good thing. And that's not to sit in judgment of whoever may or may not be the, quote, sickest in the room, because sometimes I am, and there's nothing wrong with being sick. There's nothing wrong with struggling. There's nothing wrong with having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month or a bad year. That doesn't make you a bad person. My husband often likes to post that, or say, actually, to me too, but he'll also post it on his Facebook. He posts a lot more inspirational stuff than I do. It's not a bad, just because it's a bad day doesn't mean it's a bad life. And a lot of times I poo-poo when he posts that, because when I'm in the midst of a bad day or an hour or moment, I feel like, it's never going to get any better than this. This is as good as it gets, and no, this is my life, and my life sucks, and it is bad. And it is a bad life. But he's right. It's not. From moment to moment, second to second, day to day, so much can change. You know, I've lost family members relatively young. I'm sure many of you have as well. Maybe a pet, maybe a friend, and not necessarily because they've died, but that certainly, you know, holds true, but maybe just because they become no longer a part of your life for whatever reason. And it's like here today, gone tomorrow. Literally, it can change that fast. Life can turn on a dime. So sometimes I'm finding now when I get caught up in the small stuff, and really, as long as I wake up in the morning and I have a roof over my head and I have my relatively good health, other than my mental health, and that could obviously be worse too, and my loved ones are safe and healthy and happy, and we can eat, and you know, like I said, we have beds to sleep and we have a roof over our heads, things could be a whole hell of a lot worse than they are. So I'm trying to be more grateful for just the everyday basic necessities that not everyone is lucky enough to have. I'm always a glass half empty girl, and I'm trying to change that. I'm never going to be like Sarah Smile, like Little Miss Sunshine, Pollyanna, happy-go-lucky girl. I'm just never, ever, ever, ever going to be that girl. But I don't necessarily have to be doom and gloom and Eeyore and, you know, everything sucks and I'm always miserable and my life is the worst. I don't have to be that girl either. I don't really like that girl. And when I can get out of that rut, climb out from under the bell jar, as I like to say, and see more dimensions to myself, that's the girl that I'm kind of okay with. I kind of dig her, and I want you guys to get to know her as well as, you know, deep, dark, depressed, miserable Carrie, because I'm not that girl all the time. That girl's always inside me. Like, it's like a baseline of, like, I don't know, there's some kind of, like, level of where I'm sort of morose on an everyday basis, and I try to elevate above that, but I kind of am at a baseline of, you know, not necessarily like misery and crying and weeping and, oh God, I can't get out of bed, but I never generally wake up like, oh yeah, I'm ready to start this day, let's, you know, up and at 'em, Carrie, let's go for it. Once in a rare while I'll have a day like that, but typically I'm just kind of like meh. Meh is kind of my baseline emotion. And if I can become elevated above meh, that's a good day for me. And if, honestly, if I'm not deep down below meh, that's a pretty good day for me too. But I'm finding that I'm reaching out more to people who I love and care about, and I'm trying to do so with less expectation. The biggest problem, one of the biggest problems for me when I reach out to someone, be it via text message or Facebook or Instagram, any type of social media or texting, or now in rare instances actually by the phone, or even snail mail. It wasn't motivated, like it wasn't designed to get a response, but I'm going to be honest, when it doesn't get a response, it crushes me like deep down to my soul, and I feel personally rejected, and sometimes it makes me spiral down into a worse state than I was in before I started. And I'm learning to not have expectations like that. To say to myself, you know what, Carrie, text your friends, tell her you miss her, tell her you love her, and know that if she doesn't write you back, it's not because she suddenly decided she hates you and you suck and you're unworthy of, you know, the 35 seconds of her time it would take to text back. And I don't mean that to sound passive-aggressive, even though it might have, because, I mean, technically, let's be real, it doesn't take long to text somebody back. But I'm just being analytical there. I'm not trying to imbue that with any type of sarcasm or snark. It's just, I naturally am snarky. But, I don't have to necessarily take it as a personal affront if someone doesn't text me back, or doesn't call me back, or doesn't email me back, or doesn't respond in any way, shape, or form. Or if they just simply, if I post something to them on their Facebook page and they don't write me back, you know, a novel, and all they do is click like, or, you know, even better, love, because I'm all about the heart icon on Facebook and Insta and everything else. You know, I love love. But, even if I don't get any type of response at all, I have to stop internalizing that and making that about me. And that's part of the selfish aspect that comes with depression, I think. And my therapist is teaching me about that too. I like to think of myself as an incredibly selfless person. I really do try to be generous in whatever ways that I can. And that doesn't necessarily mean monetarily, because I don't have a lot to give in that regard. But emotionally, you're going to be hard-pressed to find someone who's willing to give more of her heart and her time and her soul and her love and her compassion and her listening ear than me. When my friends are struggling, I really try to be one of the first people at the door, you know, so to speak, saying, I'm here for you. If you want to talk about it, please. I can be your dumping ground. If you want to just vent and not even have me respond, I'm cool with that. If you want advice or suggestions, I'm more than happy to offer that as well. So, I mean, I like to think that I'm a pretty selfless person, but the disease of depression is selfish because it makes you think about yourself an awful lot. And I have to know that if I text someone or I message someone or I call someone and they don't respond, oh my God, Carrie, it's because they actually have a life to live outside of your presence in it. And maybe they are not emotionally capable of responding right now. Maybe they are physically busy. Maybe they're out of town. Maybe they've got 109 problems and writing you back, they don't need that to be another one. And they'll get to you when they have a moment to spare. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean they don't care about you. It just means they have a lot of other plates all spinning at the same time. And if they stop spinning one plate to even take 30 seconds to text you back, another plate may come crashing down, and then they feel like they're in even more turmoil than they were when they started. And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that needy, begging, oh God, please, me, love me, choose me person that I've been for so much of my life. I really, that's a girl I don't like. And when those parts of me come out, it's like a vicious cycle. When I become that girl, then I feel more depressed and more unhappy, and I withdraw more, and then it takes more for me to reach out to someone, and then if they don't respond the way I hope, then it hurts even more, and it's not a good place to be. So I have to really learn that part of being selfless is extending yourself, giving your heart, giving your love, telling a funny joke, sharing a funny meme, sharing a cat picture, sharing, a cup of coffee and saying, wish you were here to have a cup of coffee with me. Do it just because it feels good. Do it because hopefully it will make the other person feel good. And don't expect anything in return. And if something in return comes, bonus. But the gift is knowing that maybe you made someone laugh or smile or feel a little tiny bit better about themselves or their lives than they did before you took the action that you took. That should be its own reward. Just do it because it feels good, and do it because it's the right thing to do. I like to say things like, do good even when no one is watching, and don't do bad even if you know they're not. And think about that for a minute, but it's true. If you know that you can get away with murder and do all the bad shit that you want to do, and there'll be no repercussions, you still shouldn't do it because, it's just not morally right. It's just not karmically right. Even if you know, like if you knew that you could go into a store and there was no security and no one was watching you and you had 10 minutes to steal as much shit as you wanted to steal, does that mean it's okay for you to do it? Is it really worth doing it and having to live with the guilt you're going to feel afterwards, knowing that you did such a rotten thing? Probably not. So just because you know you can get away with doing something crappy doesn't mean you should do it. And you shouldn't always just do good things because you expect or want something in return for it. You should just do it because you are truly selfless. Because you're not thinking about what it's going to do for you. You're doing it just because the other person matters to you and you want them to be happy. And that's what I'm really, really working on. One of the many things in my life that I'm really, really working on currently. And like literally just a couple minutes ago, I called a friend who I haven't heard from since like September. And she and I both have issues with the phone. Neither of us are particularly fond of making phone calls, but I haven't heard from her in a while, and I love her a lot, and I just want her to know that I love her a lot. And I just wanted to say, please get in touch. When you get a chance, it's not urgent. You don't have to do it, in the next 10 minutes. Just let me know you're okay, because I care about you. And if you're not okay, know that I'm here, and I can listen if you want to share, and certainly help in any way possible. If there is a way that I can, I'd be more than happy to do that. And that was scary. It took guts for me to do that, but I did it because it was the right thing to do, and it felt good. And because hopefully when she hears that message, she'll go, wow, someone was thinking about me today. Someone that I care about cares about me, and it's not out of sight, out of mind. Even though we haven't spoken in 6 months or however long it's been, she still loves me, and she's still concerned about me, and that feels good. And I may never know that she got the message. She may not respond. But in my heart, I'd like to think that it'll make her feel good when she hears it. And that's a reward enough. Obviously, would I love to hear back from her? Of course. But I don't have expectations of that. And that's very, very liberating and freeing. Sorry, sniffles. And of course, I have no tissues handy, so I'm just going to sniff. But anyway, I think that this is probably something a lot of you guys can relate to. And I'm working my way up to trying to make more phone calls, and I'm going to keep it with my tight circle right now. And please know that if you're not getting a phone call from me, it doesn't mean I don't love or care about you. It just means that I'm taking baby steps here, and it's really, really not easy, and it's super intimidating, and I need to know that, like, if I call someone and in 10 minutes I'm like, okay, I gotta go, this is all I can handle, that they're not going to be offended or upset, because I'm not necessarily up for, like, marathon chatting yet. I don't even know that I'm up for 10 minutes of chatting yet, but I'm willing to try in baby steps. So that's a big, big, big thing for me. And please, I just beg of you that you respect my boundaries. Know that this is something I'm working on. Know that eventually I will get better at it, and I will, spread it wider. But right now I need to keep it really tight because it makes me less afraid, and it makes me feel like it's more manageable. So, and this is directed partly to Hallie, because I know Hallie's super sensitive, and I don't want her to think that this is a personal, like, diss to you or anything, because it's not at all. I will get there in time, I'm sure. It may take me another 6 months, it may take me another year, but we'll continue to communicate as we have. And, if anyone else is thinking that too, same deal. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not pulling back from the current forms of communication I'm using. If any of you guys out there would like to speak to me privately and haven't felt able to yet, you don't necessarily want to in the comments section, you're more than welcome to follow me on Instagram and shoot me a private message there. If you follow my PerseveringStar, sorry, my eye's itchy. If you like the PerseveringStar Facebook page, you can certainly message me there as well. And anything shared in confidence obviously does not ever go any further than between the two of us. I'm sometimes on Twitter, but not really often, so that's probably the worst way to reach me. But and here on YouTube, I think there's a way to privately message people on YouTube. I don't know how to do it, so don't do that either. Definitely the best ways to be in touch with me privately, if that's something that you wish to do, is through my Facebook page. You can message me, or on Instagram, you can message me. And if we're not necessarily both following each other on Insta, you might want to just, like, tag me on one of my pictures and just say, like, Carrie, just wanted to let you know that I'm going to send you a message. So that way I'll be on the lookout for it, because obviously if you guys are on Insta, and you know how it works, that if you're not actually both mutually following each other, it goes into, like, you have to approve the request to communicate or whatever. And usually when I get those, they're like spammy things, or, like, not people I necessarily know and would feel comfortable communicating with. So if you could just give me a little heads up about that, that would be ideal. But even if you don't, I mean, I'll look, and if it's a name I recognize or a handle I recognize, I'll certainly check out what you have to say and, not be anxious about that so much. But But yeah, I felt like talking with you guys. I felt like, sharing a little bit. I hope I don't look ridiculous that I've got like my hat on in the house with my sopping wet hair just pulled to the side. I just got out of the shower and it looked better than just having wet hair. And I graced you with the lovely towel turban last week or the week before. I figured I'd give you a break from that. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to chat a little bit. It was just something on my mind, something that I thought was relevant and would probably be meaningful to some of you. So definitely share in the comments down below if talking on the phone is something that gives you anxiety and is something that's challenging and difficult for you. Because it hasn't always been. When I was a teenager, I was like a, in air quotes, typical teenage girl, when I talked on the phone with my friends and stuff. But honestly, after that, it just became like super, super stressful and anxiety producing, even to talk to friends. Like I would literally like screen calls or like tell my mom to say I wasn't home sometimes. And I'm sorry if you're any of those people that I did that with, but sometimes it just was too much. And as it stands now, I really primarily only talk on the phone with my husband and my mother, and once in a blue moon with, some other close friends. And I have very close friends that I don't talk on the phone with. And it's not that I love them any less. It's just like I feel like with one friend in particular that I'm thinking of, who I've known since I was a little girl. And she, even though we haven't spoken, even on like social media in years, really, she's still one of the people I feel closest to in the world. And I know that if I ever got up the balls to pick up the phone and call her, that would be literally like no time had passed, even though it's probably been 20 years since we've talked on the phone. But we just don't. Neither of us do. We just, I don't know why, we just don't. I mean, I don't know from her end why, maybe it's anxiety in her end too. Maybe it's, just, oh God, it's been so long, it feels awkward and weird. Nobody wants to be the first one to reach out. I don't know, but I love her. She loves me. I have no doubt of that. And I'm not trying to be like, hinting at people, but I don't want to mention names of anybody that, isn't here to like speak for themselves. Like it would be different if I was sitting beside my friend and my friend could be like, well, yeah, that's why I don't call or whatever, but, and it's not like a mystery or anything. Like if anybody, thinks, hey, were you talking about me? You're more than welcome to ask and I'll let you know if I was. But honestly, most of the people I'm obliquely referring to probably don't watch my channel anyway, so they wouldn't even know that I'm talking about them. So if you're here, I'm not talking about you, more than likely, unless I call you out by name, Hallie. But no, I love Hallie. Hallie's a really awesome girl. She's just much more comfortable with phone communication than I am. That's like her primary way of talking, and that's like my least way of talking. So least common, least effective, least comfortable way of talking. And there's no offense intended by that. It's just the way that it is. But as I was saying, though, please do let me know in the comments if that's something that you struggle with. I particularly struggle with it when it comes down to making, like, professional type calls. I mean, now I can call, like, my doctor's office, when I need meds refilled and things like that, or to make appointments. I feel okay with that. But, like, right now I'm desperately seeking a psychiatrist, and they're very hard to come by that take insurance, particularly mine. And I've called about 10, and even though I've always gotten voicemails or answering machines, they've never even bothered to call me back. So I'm like, it took all those balls for me to get up my courage to call you and ask for your help, practically beg at this point, and you can't even have the courtesy of returning a phone call. So unprofessional. But my husband, through someone he's training at work, has found someone that may, knock on wood, be a possibility. And I've already told my husband, please, 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 I beg of you, make this call for me, because I just don't feel like I can handle it. And those calls are the most especially scary, far scarier than calling someone that's a friend or a loved one. But yeah, I'm curious. I know some of you guys, I know for a fact that will be watching this, do suffer from the same affliction, so to speak. But I'm just curious how many more of you do, if it's more common maybe even than I think. I think it's kind of goes hand in hand for a lot of people who suffer with mental illness. And yeah, I'm just curious if you are one of those people as well. But anyway, I hope that this was not boring, and I hope that it was, you know, offered a little bit of insight into where my head is lately, what I've been dealing with, the progress I'm trying to make in my life, in my growth, and my development as a, better, hopefully healthier human being. But, yeah, let me know, like I said, in the comments. I mean, anything you want to share, but in particular, I'm curious how many of you guys, like, raise your hand, so to speak, if you're part of the, phone phobia nation, because I'm curious how many of us there actually are out there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I love you so much. I'm really grateful for your love and support and your kind remarks, your likes, your friendship, your watching these videos. It means a whole lot to me. And yeah, without me, without you, there'd be no me. Well, without me, there'd be no me either, I guess. But without you, there'd be no me, certainly on YouTube. And I thank you for making me feel good about being here and making me feel like some of the, blather that comes out of my mouth might actually be somewhat meaningful and helpful to other people. That's important to me, and it means a lot when you guys give me that affirmation. So have an awesome rest of your day, guys. Happy Thursday. If it's not a happy Thursday, I hope tomorrow will be a better day for you. Hang on. Don't give up. You never know. Life can change on a dime, like I said. As crappy as you may be feeling right now, in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, a day, a week, a month, you might just find you're in a totally different place and go, wow, I'm really glad I stuck around. I'm really glad I fought through the crappy stuff to make it to this good stuff. It'll happen eventually. Life is cyclical like that. It'll come, I promise. I love you so much, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with more stuff. Bye.